taking, but giving. Elizabeth Dunn and Michael Norton suggest a better and happier way of spending money in their book, Happy Money, The Science of Smarter Spending. And they said, surprisingly, their suggestions do not include buying the latest what? The latest gadgets and other materials people usually equate with happiness. As behavioral scientists, they cracked the code to a more satisfying expenditure, and that's spending money on others. Kung sinong katabi mo, pakisabi sa kanya, yan ang sikreto. You spend money on me. Okay? Buy me a gift. No, I'm just joking. No? Turns out, pro-social expenditure gives a higher degree of satisfaction and self-fulfillment than the highly encouraged personal expenditure. Buying the coolest sneakers may cover up for your insecurity for a while, but buying shoes for that kid whose parents could barely buy a new one definitely makes you a happier and a better person. And even the word Winston Churchill was saying something like this. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. I know it is uncomfortable right now amidst the pandemic. To add the last point. As one of the coaches here, I struggle actually to talk about the last point because, I might be misunderstood. Because of the pandemic, probably you're saying, again, the coaches here are talking about giving amidst the pandemic. And probably, it comes into your mind, the coach is very insensitive. But friends, during the pandemic, and I added the last point of being rich, and generous, because in these times, we are able to truly show our faith and trust in the Lord. As a matter of fact, being rich in generosity, in many New Testament passages, Paul was talking about it. And I realized I was reading many of the scriptures that Paul used about giving. He was basically saying that giving is not reserved for the rich. Hindi ito para sa mga meron lang Because many times we think giving and being generous is reserved for the rich. And there's the feeling that because we don't have much, and the others, they have much, these people who have much have the responsibility to provide for us. But friends, the opposite of what we see in Scripture is this. Because when Paul appealed to the people to give, he did not ask from the rich churches. Rather, he asked from an equally economically depressed area called Macedonia. Where do you find that? 2 Corinthians 8, verse 1 to 2. Now I want you to know, dear brothers and sisters, what God in His kindness has done through the churches in Macedonia. Look at this. They are being tested by many troubles. They are very poor, but they are also filled with abundant joy, which has overflowed in rich generosity. In 2 Corinthians 8, verse 7, it says there, you are rich in everything. In faith, in speaking, in knowledge, in truly wanting to help, in the love you learned from us. But in the same way, friends, be strong also in the grace of giving. I'm always blessed to hear stories of people who are unselfish in spite of their lack. Coach Gina was talking about a woman here. Because of the renovation hall of PV here in LA. When she got her retirement funds, she decided to give 20K. And perhaps this is not logical for so many people. She's old. It's her retirement funds. I cannot understand that. But I guess the woman responded in faith, believing that God is the source of all blessings. And basically, we are blessed to hear stories of people who give not because they have much, but because they respond by faith to the prodding of God. Even Gordon MacDonald, a well-respected pastor and author, acknowledges about the poor giving more than the rich. And this is what Gordon MacDonald said. Every statistic Every social observation suggests that pound for pound, the poor are far more generous than we who are comparatively wealthy. He added, the people most generous with their money and their possessions are the poorest of the poor. I'm also aware that a significant majority of affluent people entirely lack a generous spirit. I believe that the most generous in God's viewpoint are not the Warren Buffetts of the world, not even the Bill and Melinda Gates of the world, but the people such as the poor people in Corinthians. Because the most generous are not determined by how much they give, but what's left after they give. Not even by the size of the gift, but the size of the sacrifice. Parker Palmer said, the promise of paradox. He said, we'll learn that people who live with material scarcity open, understand spiritual abundance far better than we do. The poor, they become our guides spiritually. They know the secret of real happiness. It's not in having much. The secret of happiness for many of them is in sharing and giving. These people, according to Palmer, have always had to transcend in trust. The world of scarce resources will turn out to be what? Our guides on the spiritual journey. Again, 2 Corinthians 8 verse 2 said, they have been severely tested by the troubles they went through, but their joy. And the question is, where do you derive your joy? Saan ka nakakahanap po ng kasiyahan sa buhay mo? Because the church here, they were extremely generous in their giving, even though they are poor. Friends, I know everybody needs money. And we all dream of being financially free someday. Who does not? But how we use our hard-earned income has a stronger impact on our happiness than the size of our bank accounts. Ken Blanchard said, a great writer and teacher, Gordon MacDonald, once said something like this to groups of people. He said, there are driven people and there are called people. Driven people think they own everything, and called people believe everything is on loan. Driven people think they own their relationships, their property, and their businesses. They spend most of their time and energy protecting what they think they own. But called people, they know that even their relationships are on loan, so they spend time fostering those relationships. Sabi ho ni Ken Blanchard, I'm not driven to make money. This is the balance of the first 5 points. I'm called to help others through my business endeavors, through my giving, and by the very fact that my service center provides jobs.
Thank you again for watching our YouTube videos. We hope that these messages encourage you and inspire you to move forward within your life. If you have further discussions or want to have further discussion, we have questions right below in our description box. So just click that. And we believe here that life is better connected. So feel free to share the content, like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you get further notifications on what we're doing here and the messages to come. So with that, thank you for watching our videos. We'll see you again.